I've fostered some strange animal today. I think this one might give me trouble. Written by huntalex. So grab your coffee, sit back and enjoy the show. I run a small animal foster home in East London, just a short walk from Victoria Park. Nothing fancy. A converted townhouse, a few cages, heat lamps, and shelves of medicine I'm technically not allowed to have without a license. I've fostered all kinds of animals that you can think of. Cats, dogs, rodents, reptiles, even the occasional pygmy hedgehog or exotic bird. You'll be surprised what people abandon in cardboard boxes by the bins. Last night, around 2:30 a.m., I got a knock. Not the doorbell. A knock. Light but deliberate. I peered through the frosted glass and saw nothing. Then I opened the door. At my feet was a wicker gate, not one of the cheap ones. This was old, reinforced with iron bands and tied shut with thick black cord. No note. No person in sight. The street was empty. There were breathing sounds coming from inside, wet and shuddery like a sick dog. I brought it in, of course. I should call RSPCA, but it's what I do. I take in strays, the sick, the dying, the impossible. I cut the cords. The crate door creaked open on its own. Inside, huddled in the shadows, was... I don't know. It had fur, but only in patches. Pale skin, almost translucent, stretched thin over twitchy limbs. Its eyes were enormous, black as ink, with no whites. Its mouth, when it opened, split far too wide, like an injury that never healed right. It didn't move toward me. It didn't growl. Just watched. Silent. I named him Moth, not because it looked like one, but because it had the same fragile wrongness. You ever touch a moth's wing and feel how it disintegrates into powder? That's what its gaze felt like, soft and dry and wrong. The first time I did was try and look up what the is actually moth. No existing animal seems to match his description. Is he a mutant? Some lab experiment that was rescued by a guilt-ridden scientist? A new species that was smuggled from some foreign land? For the first 2 days, Moth didn't eat. Just staying in his crate, even when the door was left open. The other animals give the newcomer a wide berth like he was the plague. Rodents, rabbits, sugar gliders, and even the resident ferret huddle in the corners of their enclosures. The cats hissed and spat if they got close, birds squawk and chirp frantically, and even my Jackson, my beagle, whimpered constantly. He wouldn't even come into the same room. On day 3, I found one of my cats, Peanut, a sweet old ginger tom, stiff as a board behind the fridge. No wounds. Eyes wide open, pupils blown. I thought it was a heart attack. Happens sometimes. I buried him under the old birch tree in my garden, somewhere he used to love taking naps under. But that night I saw Moth standing in the hallway. Just standing. Not moving. The light flickered. Every time I looked away and back, it was slightly closer. I locked him in the crate again. Tied it shut. Moth didn't resist. This morning I woke up to find the cords shredded from the inside. The crate was empty. The windows were locked. Doors, too. Nothing was broken. But 3 more animals were gone. Not dead. Gone. As if they'd never existed. Their cages were clean. Empty food bowls. No trace they'd even been there. I went to check Peanut's grave only to discover he wasn't buried anymore. All was left was his collar, soaked in something that wasn't his blood. Then this evening I found the writing on the walls. Tiny etchings carved into the paint with something sharp. A spiraling language that looks almost like Latin, if Latin were written by something with too many fingers and not enough sense. The words pulse if you stare too long. I tried to take photos. My phone camera glitches every time I point it at the marks. Shows static. Or sometimes my face staring back from the wrong angle. May 20th. Moth is still here. I catch glimpses. In reflections. In doorways. I think he's growing. Taller. More sure of himself. He mimics the sound of the other animals he devoured now. The squeak of Coco the Dutch guinea pig, the croak of Kermit, my Pac-Man frog and Banjo the cockatoo. But they come from behind walls. From the attic. Sometimes from inside the vents. I've boarded the animals in a friend's shelter for now. They're safe. I think. But I'm not leaving. Not yet. I need to know what thing it is. Why it came here. Why it chose me. And maybe, if I'm honest, part of me wants to see what happens when it decides I'm next. May 21st. I haven't slept. Moth no longer hides. He walks freely through the house, silent, graceful in its grotesquerie. The floors don't creak under its weight, though it must be heavier now. His limbs now longer too. Or maybe I'm imagining it. I tried to follow him last night. He drifted into the basement, a room I rarely use except to store feed and bedding. It stood facing the far wall for nearly 20 minutes, perfectly still. Then he raised his hand, placed it against the concrete and the wall. Opened. Not physically. Nothing broke or crumbled. But it changed. The surface seemed to ripple, like stone remembering how to become liquid. I didn't go closer. I couldn't. My legs locked up. I think Moth knew I was watching him. I felt his eyes on me, even though he never turned. This morning, I found a new mark carved into the ceiling above my bed. A perfect circle filled with concentric rings. The outermost ones had little notches. Teeth? Stars? I don't know. When I reached up to touch it, it was warm. It vibrated under my fingers like a heartbeat. There's another thing. The mirrors. They don't work right anymore. My reflection lags like a bad internet feed. Sometimes it moves when I don't. Once it smiled. I didn't. I covered every mirror in the house. I spoke to Dr. Lemieux, a clinical animal psychologist, an old friend who helped me in the past multiple times. She didn't laugh. She just went quiet. Told me to burn the crate and leave the house. Said something about threshold entities and non-local parasites. I asked what she meant. She said, "They don't come from somewhere. They come from when..." I don't know what this means. I didn't tell her about the dreams. Last night I dreamed I was underground, somewhere vast and black. I could hear breathing, not from one source, but many. Hundreds. Thousands. All inhaling together. Moth was there, but not alone. Dozens of shapes just like him, hunched and watching. They whispered in a language that made my teeth ache. I woke up with bleeding gums. Still, I can't bring myself to leave. I check the cameras, even they now glitch. I make notes. Diagrams. I've sketched Moth 27 times. Each one more detailed than the last. Too detailed. Some of the sketches show things I haven't seen with my eyes. Things I'm not sure I should see. But here's the worst part. I think it's teaching me. I've started to understand the symbols. Not all of them. But some. Like how the spiral always points to a location. How certain shapes mean entry. Others mean sacrifice. And one, drawn on the inside of my front door this morning, means welcome. May 24th. 3 days. No food. No water. I don't even feel the need anymore. My body feels distant. A vehicle I'm driving from far away. I should be terrified. I think I was. But now I feel aligned. The house no longer groans or creaks. It hums, faint, like a choir behind a wall, always just out of hearing. The marks are everywhere now. Floorboards, windowsills, the inside of my eyelids when I blink too long. I no longer need to sketch them. I remember them. Moth comes closer each night. Moth no longer hides. It walks through the rooms like he owns them. I've stopped locking the crate. It won't stay closed anyway. Every morning I find the cords alone, perfectly unraveled, like someone with surgical fingers untied them from inside. I tried to push back. Yesterday, I blocked the basement door with a bookshelf, nailed it shut, and laid salt across the threshold. At this point, I'm sure this little shit is a demon of some sort. That night, the entire house went silent. No creaks. No pipes. I thought maybe I'd won. Or the moth left the house, probably to go terrorize the neighborhood. But in the morning, the bookshelf was gone. Not knocked over. Gone. The wall was perfectly clean with no holes or scruff marks, as if the door had never been blocked. The salt? I found it arranged on my bedspread, shaped into a perfect spiral, the center burned through the fabric. Last night he sat at the foot of my bed and watched me sleep. I say sleep, but it's more like I leave. Drift somewhere between dreaming and dissolving. I see a tower made of ribs, a river that flows upward. I stand beneath a red sky and speak languages with no vowels. They listen. The walls. I hear them whisper to me. Not in words. In shapes. Impressions. I don't know how else to describe it. It told me where to stand. Where to place my hand. And when I did, the wall changed. It softened. It breathed. I pulled away. But now my handprint is still there. Pressed into the concrete like a trace fossil. I can't wash it off. I don't think I want to anymore. I dreamt of a place. The one beneath the earth, or maybe beyond it. A sky like torn sky. Towers made of bones that were bones. Moth was there, but he wasn't the only one. They were singing. In that language with no vowels, only pressures and angles. And I understood them. Worse. I sang back. Today Moth speaks now, though not in words. His thoughts press into mine, like something clawing through wallpaper. It wants me to open the wall. The place in the basement. Not for it, for them. I think I will. I think I already have. Revised police report, Scotland Yard Police Incident #2025-1428, LDN. File number 2025-1428, LDN, filed by PCM Baines. Date 27th of May 20th, 25. Location 142 Ashcombe Lane, Tower Hamlets. Time of arrival 3:17 a.m. 999 call received at 02:59 from neighbor Elaine Murphy, 63, reporting inhuman sounds and chanting like a funeral but backward. Caller expressed concern for resident known only as the Animal Lady, who reportedly ran a private animal foster operation out of her home. No known history of disturbance. Front door ajar, no sign of forced entry. All windows locked from inside. No lights on, but a low humming audible from within, untraceable source. A shadowy form dashed through us and into the streets. No officer was able to identify the beast. Interior. House is advanced disarray. Furniture displaced. Heavy soot-like residue covering surfaces. Numerous animal cages all empty. Bowls still full. No signs of escape or struggle. Carvings present on all major surfaces, floors, ceilings, walls, resemble sigils or runes. Some appear fresh, still bleeding a clear sap-like fluid. Mirrors either attracted, shattered, or covered with cloth. Those still intact displayed inconsistent reflections. Officers advised to avoid direct eye contact. Basement access. Door initially sealed with hardened organic matter appears similar to calcified bone. Required forced entry. Interior basement conditions. Air temperature significantly lower than the rest of the house. Central floor partially closed. Circular opening approx. 2.4 meters wide. No bottom visible. Light thrown in failed to reflect off any surface. Audible resonance detected, described by multiple officers as low singing or breathing. PCR Dean experienced acute disorientation and emotional distress. Removed from scene under medical supervision. Later unable to recall basement details. MRI pending. Notable item. Handwritten journal located in bedroom tucked beneath mattress. Final dated entry, 27th May 20th, 25. Tone increasingly erratic. Content refers to an entity named Moth, ritualistic symbols, and a location described only as the threshold. Full document in evidence. Unresolved findings. No human remains recovered. No trace of animals. Final image captured by basement camera, motion activated, recovered intact. Timestamp 3:04. Images show humanoid figure with disproportionate limbs and featureless face. Figure is looking directly into lens, despite camera being in a sealed box during capture. Image persists regardless of device. Has reappeared on 3 separate hard drives since removal from the scene. Action taken. Scene secured and transferred to Section 9. Special Containment Division. Neighbor advised to vacate for 72 hours. Report sealed under Directive A13. Unexplained phenomena. Internal note, confidential. We would later get info that animals that Redacted were caring for were staying at a friend's due to a problematic animal. PC Baines has requested temporary leave following exposure to scene. Reports, sleep disturbances, and auditory hallucinations resembling cat purring and whispers under floorboards. Referral pending. Final note. Unsigned note found in Ashcombe basement. We are not doors. We are keys, and the house has already opened. Hey family. A very big thank you to huntalex for allowing me to narrate such an awesome tale. Be sure to check out their Reddit profile for more of their awesome works. If you would like to support us and make a donation, I'd be very much appreciative. I do have PayPal and a Buy Me a Coffee account. Be sure to also check out our merch store. There are plenty of items and designs to choose from. If you enjoyed this video, then why not check out the next one? Here, on the right-hand side. You can also follow us. All my socials and all my other links are contained within the Linktree link below. Take care, everyone, and I hope you all have a wonderful and peaceful night. And don't forget, where fear is, happiness is not.